Hello guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about the Vlookup formula on Excel, the ins and outs of the formula, and this video will be a part of multiple videos targeting the topic of financial modeling. So let's look at the table of content. First of all, we're going to be discussing what is Vlookup. We're going to examine the formula and check and segment the parts of the formula. Then I'm going to be talking about certain tips that you might have to take into consideration whenever you're working with Vlookup. And finally, we're going to run two examples where one will be related to finance and the other will be related to human resources. So let's start, guys. What is Vlookup? So you're asking Excel to conduct a vertical lookup, which means a vertical search. So if I want to define Vlookup in my own words, I would say that Vlookup is a powerful formula where you will be asking Excel to look up in a vertical manner for a value or data from one table and put it in the table that you're working in based on a hint that you specify for Excel. So I'm specifying a hint. I'm asking Excel to go for one table or one data range or one Excel workbook or worksheet and get that value or data and put it on the sheet that I'm working in. So let's look at the formula. The formula says equal VLOOKUP, lookup value, table array, column index number, and range lookup. If I want to segment it and look at each part by itself, the lookup value stands for the hint that I specify for Excel for it to go and try to match it with the data array or the table that I'm actually looking at. So it is a hint that I should specify or select from the table that I am working on. So it's a hint that I pick from the table that I am working on to match it with that table where I need to get my data from. The table array is when I specify for Excel the selection or the location where it should go and look for my hint. The column index number is the number of the column. See, when we say VLOOKUP, we're talking about the vertical lookup. So column is vertical, so I'm specifying the number, please focus on number, the number of the column in the table or the data array that I want Excel to focus on. And finally, the range lookup is if I want Excel to exactly match my hint or kind of estimate it. So if I want Excel to exactly match it, I need to set the value here as 0. As for the tips, guys, first of all, you need to understand that the easier and the more flexible I create my sheet, the better, the more efficient, and the more effective my work will be. So sometimes it would be really good to name the range that I want Excel to go and look at. I can name the range and maybe create it as a table. Or if I don't want to do that, I would rather go and fix the range so that whenever I drag the formula, the technicalities of the formula will not get messed up, and we're going to see that in a bit whenever we get to the example itself. And finally, it will be always good to go back and check a couple of values that you have received and whether they match what you were hoping for. So, without wasting any time, let's get into the example itself. So as I've said, guys, the first example will be tackling a topic in finance. And in this example, I can see that I have a sheet that's called Finance CAPM, Capital Asset Pricing Model. And the sheet has the company name, the industry that the company works in, operates in, the beta, and the stock price. So I'm trying to work on a valuation exercise, and I'm missing the beta of the company itself. So I go and I download the sheet from the internet or from a reliable source that has the beta by industry. So now, instead of me going and looking at each and every company and trying to find what the beta is, especially if you're working with a huge database and thousands of rows and columns, then you would rather not do it manually. Of course, you want something to facilitate your life. So for us to do it, guys, we need to find the beta, right? And for us to find the beta, we need to grab it from this sheet. So let's type the formula. Vlookup, open parentheses, lookup value is the hint. So the hint that I want Excel to pay close attention to is financial services, because the table, right? The table over here is a list of beta by industry. So I'm gonna match an industry to an industry in the other table. So I set up the hint. Then it asks me for a table array. So where do you want me to try to find that hint? I go to the table over here. I can select it. And please make sure to fix the cells by pressing F4. So that means I want you to focus on this array, and even if I drag the formula in the Finance CAPM sheet, the selection will not move while I'm dragging. This is one option. The second option would be, and this is the option that I prefer, to actually give a name for this range. So let's do this together. I'm gonna go to the CAPM table. I'm gonna select, right? I'm gonna select this data array, and then I'm gonna press Control F3. A small table will pop up. It's called the name manager. I will create a new name and I will call it beta only. So I called this range beta. I go to OK and I close. So now if I want to select this, automatically if you go to this small drop-down menu, the name box, you're going to see that automatically beta will show up. So now I can reference this range whenever I want and any formula that I want. So I go back here to Finance CAPM. I type it again, Vlookup. Lookup value is the financial services. Table array, we called it beta. And as you see, it automatically shows tab, comma, column index number. So the value that I'm looking for, in what column is it found? Is it in column 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, or whatever the number is? And in our case, the value is in the second column. So I put 2. And do I want an approximate match or an exact match? I would rather have an exact match. And in Excel, whenever something is true is 1, whenever something is false is 0. So I would put 0 to have an exact match. So you can see that I've derived the value from another table and put it on this table using the VLOOKUP. I can do the same for the remaining companies. So I would go copy and paste special, paste formulas, and automatically they will show up. So as I've said before, I've chosen column 2 because this is the table, column 1, column 2, and this is the column where I want to get my data from. Another example is actually focusing on HR. So imagine that we have a list of employees with a salary and we're just missing the joining date or the joining year. So I go to HR and I ask for a list of employees and they provide me with this list that has more names than the ones found over here with the joining date. So what I need to do is also to create a VLOOKUP formula. Now we know that it's always better to name it. So we can actually do that by selecting Control F3. I want a new name. It's going to be joining. Okay, then I close, and then it is named. If I go back to HR list of employees and I want to set the joining year, it's a VLOOKUP. I want them to look, my hint is the name. The table array is joining. The column is 2, and I want an exact match, and there you go. Apply it all over, Alt-SF. And this is how powerful VLOOKUP can actually look. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have anything, please drop it down in the comment. If not, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to stay notified of the new videos that will be coming soon. Thank you guys.